All right, so you have ISIS on the run, which they are. There's no denying that, and there's no minimizing the importance of achieving that. But as I've been raising with a number of guests on both Fox Business and Fox News, every time we have a terrorist or isolated instance, is it really timed almost with that kind of media coverage? In other words, ISIS trying to sort of shift attention to these lone wolf attacks that it inspires. To terrorist analyst Dr. Zuhdi Jasser, former Navy SEAL Commander David Sears. Commander, ended with you. Get your thoughts on that. What do you think?
I think they're definitely on the run in the Middle East. That doesn't mean that we have a victory or that they're any less dangerous. So is it a concerted strategy by them to do attacks over here and then that eases up the pressure there? I don't think so. I think they prefer to do attacks everywhere, and we need to look at it that way. They're going to be more dangerous.
Zuhdi, you can look at this and all of a sudden say, all right, well, we probably should be prepared that ISIS on the run isn't an ISIS, run out. So what do you look for? What do you like to remind people about the ISIS and the terrorist mindset and all of this other stuff, the radicalization that seems to be happening across the globe?
Well, I think the best thing, the most important thing to remind people, Neil, is that a win on the battlefield, a win in Syria or Iraq, is not a win ideologically. And ultimately, we're in a time in history in which Islam is still battling theocracy. And this individual, Akayed Ullah, is an example of a Bangladeshi. Probably doesn't even speak the language of ISIS, doesn't speak Arabic, was radicalized. Not only he was operationalized probably on the internet, but he was swimming in a pool of this jihadism globally. That, remember, the old paradigm of radical Islam, it doesn't have a state. It's an ideology. They believe in the caliphate. They believe in jihad. That idea is stronger than ever. And even though he only, thankfully, just injured a couple people, ISIS see this as a victory because we're paying attention to it. We are on the run.
You're right.
We need to be on the offense. That's been the problem, Neil, is I always want to remind people, where is our offense? We're always on the defense. Our offense is to advance liberty, advance secular states based in freedom and democracy unapologetically. And instead, we're constantly sort of in this whack-a-mole program.
Yeah, to that point, one of the things I heard from guests already just today, Dave, is that we did have advance notice of a lot of chatter going into the holiday season, particularly about doing something in New York. That isn't so shocking, I know. But then how do you follow up on that? Chatter is one thing, pursuing it and everywhere is quite another, right?
Right. It's very difficult to pursue it, especially under some of our laws that we have. And those laws are good laws, and they're meant to protect the innocent people and our rights. That said, we have to do some more pieces into profiling. We know where some of these areas are that they congregate in, that the radicals kind of come together in some of the mosques and pieces like that. So we need to be looking at those very hard, and they need to be doing more intelligence-based policing, not for repeat offenders, but for initial, who is being radicalized, who's susceptible to it. It's a very difficult problem.
Zuhdi, I always wonder that, obviously you want to scare people if you're a terrorist or like-minded bent, to especially at the holidays and especially in places where people congregate, not only in New York City, but worldwide. I mean, it's no accident these type of attacks have occurred at the holidays in London, in Berlin, and on and on and on. And I know people are told, go about and live your lives and all, but what's the message you're hearing from those who want to wreck that party and wreck that holiday spirit? What is the strategy that they're looking at? Just anywhere and everywhere people go to ruin it? Is it that simple?
Yeah, they basically want... Oh.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they basically want to change the way of life because that would be a victory. They divide the world into the land of Islam, where Muslim majorities rule, and then the land of war. So to them, if we can be disorganized, become chaotic at the time of holidays, which is why New York and other major centers continue to be targets, then they have won. And ultimately, we need to start looking not only at private channels that need warrants and things, but really publicly. There's Facebook posts and other things that are public postings that we're not paying attention to that are the nonviolent precursors. I mean, down the street where you have people marching against the naming of Jerusalem as the capital, which it's long been, that we have to recognize as part of the radicalization process that Arabs and all the different types of ethnicities of Muslims are participating and radicalizing our community in, and we're ignoring the dots that all connect into the radicalization of various Muslim populations.
They'll use that day, that whole Jerusalem thing, as an excuse to say or justify this behavior. Of course, this could have been, pre any of that. What do you think?
There's plenty of excuses for the radicalization. It's exactly as the doctor was talking about. This exists and the precursors exist, but we have to begin to understand the ideology. We still look at this as a nation-state type problem. We can't get our heads around understanding the difference between non-believers and believers, and that's the ultimate war, and they will take it to whatever forum and location that they can and gain the most advantage.
Gentlemen, I want to thank you both. Some sort of perspective on what just seems crazy.